So, welcome everyone. If you need a coffee or something, feel free. It's next door. In case you have a specific need, it's to the right as you go through the doors. Okay, Joe, do you want to start with the IT Federal Main Street project?
Okay. First talk about the West Main extension. That project is approximately 98% complete. Really, the only thing we have left is a bioretention unit that goes off to the side, but that cannot be installed until IT Federal installs this 42-inch drain pipe, which they've been testing. So at that point, the project is done, it's striped, it's ready to go. The rural Phoenix site, the subcontractor is still working on the electrical permits. There was an issue with the design or some type of drawing that he had to get done, some proper documentation, design, so he's working on that. Overall, the project's about 80% complete. Main items we've got is running electrical lines to the pump station and then getting it certified. Obviously, there's really no rush at the moment for that, but overall, we're about 80% complete on that project.
Part of the problem, the type of electrical fittings, your watertight fittings, your NEMA, is that part of it?
Well, from my understanding, it was something with the permit and the proper drawings certified, or not certified, some type of drawings that they needed that were not adequate for the permit. And there were some, and I don't actually remember exactly what the key point was, but they were working on it. I'll see if I can check on it.
Anything else, Joe, on that?
No, actually, no. It's we're there and ready.
Let's go to number 2, 522 Corridor Water Upgrade Project.
Obviously, CHA did complete their feasibility study that identified the best route connection for existing water corridor loop out there, which is basically following the transmission line on the north side of town here. Right now, the cost estimate is anywhere between $8.5 to $12 million to complete. What CHA is doing right now is they're working on the PER, the preliminary engineering review, which is the next step in the process, and they should be completed this month of August, and so we'll be bringing that forth to council to determine the next step of action there.
And you do have some money set aside?
Yeah, well, actually, the way we're building this project is, and really the supporting of it is twofold. One is contribution from Dominion, well, $3.5 million, but also Dominion, with their water contract, is starting to tier up, and with that additional revenue from their tiered rates will help support this and pretty much fund it when we look at it long range.
I know you guys gave them a 5-year discount, I believe. We pick up years 6 through 10, so next year we start kicking in.
Okay.
Kind of the difference on that in-town rate versus the school 2-town rate. So.
Now, obviously, Dominion has entertained the thought of wanting to negotiate some more. Obviously, they would love to renegotiate their water contract. So that's where we are right now. We're waiting on CHA to finish their PPR.
Phase 2 and 3, Happy Creek Road Project. You're up again, Joe.
All right, Happy Creek, what we've done is we submitted Phase 2 and Phase 3 in the Smart Scale funding last year, and we scored very poorly, and we received no funding. So what we're doing right now is we're in the process of putting an RFP together to get the design of Phase 2 done. That will help our scoring, and the idea is to get this design done this fall and be ready to submit next year into VDOT's revenue sharing or Smart Scale funding. We feel that the design of the road will go a long way with the ratings for the Smart Scale. So right now we're looking at Phase 2 is estimated at $5.7 million with hopefully a potential start date of 2023.
Perhaps, I know Phase 4, I guess the county portion, which starts at town limits and runs down through I-66, covers that railroad crossing area. I think it's slated for first quarter of 2021 construction. So maybe VDOT sees, okay, we'll have this piece upgraded. You got Phase 1 upgraded. Now's the time for the piece in the middle. Maybe that'll help you a little bit.
Yeah, I know. We took a look at what our scoring was last year with Smart Scale, and obviously we really felt like without having a current design of the road, that hurt us in scoring. So this is just another way that we can increase our chances for funding in future years.
It would be good if two of the projects are going.
Oh, I agree.
Because you know as well as I do, that once you get going on a project, if there's a follow-up, if you don't have to come back and reset up, it's a major cost. You know, tie it all together and do it at one time. Okay, property maintenance code.
All right. Really, there is no change since the last time we met. Just to summarize what we're at right now, the town did pass a maintenance code, and in the code it's required us to appoint a qualified maintenance code official, as well as appoint a board of code appeals. We have been doing some investigating work, but at this point, like I said, there is no change from last quarter that we talked about this. At this point, the only thing I'd like to follow up on is we never did get a response back from the building code appeals on their thoughts.
So I believe the Board of Building Code Appeals has given a thumbs up. That needs now to go back to the board and for the board to make the formal recommendation. So I'll try to see if we can put that on for our work session on August 6th for discussion. And like, if you can make a note and do that.
Okay.
And that way we can get back to you guys in August with a definite answer.
Perfect. Thank you.
So what will that, forgive me, I'm new to the job. What will that do, Joe, as far as if the county building code appeals, if they were to hear the cases, walk me through the process with that.
Well, the first thing is what we're trying to do is, instead of creating another whole committee or group to handle this, we're trying to caveat with the building code appeals for the debt, because we don't think it's going to be active enough to actually have our own committee. So what we're trying to do is utilize an existing committee, existing appeals committee, to handle these the maintenance code appeals. And when we do institute this property maintenance code, we need an appeals board to hear any type of an appeal of our decision. So right now it's more of a collective measures to try to utilize existing structure.
In reality, our board's probably met 5 times in the last 5 years. This happens to be one tonight, and we've had 3 on the one issue, but it meets very infrequently, and you've got to go through the training and all set up. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Right.
It's a typical situation. And most of the builders are associated with the Builders Association. They build it just as much in town as they do in the county. So I think it makes sense. That's just, I think you guys have offered, like the town attorney's office will assist the board with legal issues from the appeals. I think the board was concerned mainly that, okay, how much would this bog county staff down? I think, and that's part of the answer we got to get back to the board.
Yeah, and they're also concerned about a county vehicle pulling up, doing an inspection for the town. There's going to be a negative impact and pushback on the, you guys would have to have the inspector.
Well, so, yeah, this would just be the board and not be county staff as proposed.
Right. This is more or less for appeals. The idea, what we're still focused on is trying to get a maintenance code official. And what we have been trying to do is trying to contract that out. And we were very unsuccessful. We thought we had an opportunity with the Berkeley group, with collaboration with Strasburg. We thought we had an opportunity there to fit it in our current budget. But unfortunately, Strasburg pulled out at the last minute. Berkeley group decided that they could not support the 60% of effort that it would take without us paying the full freight. So we've kind of taken that back seat on that and waiting to see.
So what's the objective?
The objective, from my understanding from council, is the objective, first of all, is to address derelict and blighted structures. That is the concentration, that's the first point of contact that they want.
Okay, so if I own a property, and if I decide that I want to board up my house, and if my house is not causing potential harm to anyone else, from a property rights perspective, what's inappropriate with that? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm playing a devil's advocate here. I'm playing an angle of if I choose to board my house up, can I not do that? So we're gonna have a property inspector come in and here's why I throw that out, and Dan, I'll throw it to you and Doug as well. To me, I think we're chasing our tail in trying to accomplish an objective. And I think what the objective is, we want to see our community look as good as possible. We want to see houses look as nice as possible. We want to recruit good business and tourists, etc. I think to me, I think that's the objective. And I'm not certain by carrying around a stick and telling people, you know, we're going to take you to court and we're going to inspect you and we're going to do all this. Personally, I don't know that's going to accomplish what the objective is. When you factor in the cost from the town perspective and you factor in the cost from the county perspective, a couple $100,000 a year probably, have our two bodies looked at a joint grant program to incentivize homeowners that have these blighted buildings, to incentivize them either to tear down and put grass or to renovate? Has that been looked? I mean, I'd rather spend $150,000, $200,000 a year in a grant program that's going to accomplish something as opposed to $150,000, $200,000 a year in a property maintenance department that's not going to accomplish much.
I would like to look and see if Habitat for Humanity would be able to help out.
Any of the above. But I say it jointly because, yes, these properties, many of these properties are within the town limits, but I know the county would agree that a building that's valued at $60,000 is generating X number of property value for the county as opposed to generating $120,000 is generating you a little more tax dollars. I think it's in everyone's best interest if we could figure out, because I know you may have, Doug, access to some grant programs that.
Yeah, it's certainly worth sitting down and have that discussion. I think one of the great examples y'all have used is the house sitting up here on the corner of 6th Street. It's been sitting there for the 2+ decades that I've been here, and it's about the same shape.
Yeah.
And you all have had contact and discussion with the property owner. They chose not to do anything. You know, either if you can't, I guess that's the grant could tear it down, maybe.
If that's what the homeowner, you know, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like y'all need to go back and decide if the town still wants to pursue us for the.
Yeah, I'm speaking as an individual in this case. This is not the town council is not giving me any direction on this. They know, I don't believe, you would know better than I would, I don't believe there's support on council to hire this inspector right now.
I do not believe that the funds are there.
Right.
State code, there's a number of things as far as state code goes. But by going about it that way, you're going to have money for lawyers' fees because people are going to sue.
Sure.
And they're going to want. That's the big hang-up that I see there going forward with this. Because you're going to need a war chest.
You know, to me, as an individual, coming off of Skyline Drive, what do you see as you enter town? It doesn't invite you into town. It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
Eventually, there's going to be a fire. This is where the code, my perception, would step in, and you could use it for health and safety reasons. Because, I mean, if you want people to come to town, you want to make it attractive.
Yeah. And state code does
Has health and
has
safety.
things
Yeah.
there in it. But again, like I said, we're going to have to set money aside if we're going to do it like this.
Well, maybe you could do like I'll use the term, entrance corridor district, right? In the town, like we have a historic district, look at something where, you know, for instance, the Afton Inn, if someone takes a historic building and makes improvements to it, for 10 years, both the town and county, we tax on the current value, not the improved value. Maybe you could have like an entrance corridor, like talking there from basically Joe's up to South Street corner and say, hey, you go do some improvements, we'll give you some tax incentives.
Call it the gateway to the
To
town.
be a gateway corridor or something like that. Maybe that could be an alternative where you would incentivize landowners to make improvements.
I think that's a great idea. I I think it would warrant you and Doug, perhaps Joe, of getting together frequently, talking about ideas. I mean, would you be willing to let them do that as far as just
Are you
working
gonna
out?
pay for their hours? No, I'm kidding.
We'll work something out.
We'll work something out, a cup of coffee,
Joe
okay.
and I can do that.
You know, I think it'd be worthwhile to look at creative ways, outside the box ways. If the objective is to improve our community's entrance and improve the community and increase the tax base, et cetera, let's be a little more creative with that.
You know, the business association may get involved because that would directly impact
Yeah,
their bottom line.
yeah.
All right, guys, we beat that one to death. Okay, dissolution of the Economic Development Authority.
We got number 5, Mr. Chairman, and actually 5, I think we're done. I think Joe really talked about
Yeah,
last
he
time.
said it was done.
Yeah, we're good.
I just didn't get it removed from the.
That's fine,
agenda,
that's fine.
I just applied last.
I remember you saying that, that's why I just went over
Yeah,
it. Not gonna waste time.
Mr. Chairman, with your approval, would you allow Doug to go through maybe his 3 points, and then I can cut, because this dissolution of economic development and citizen committee is my issues. So would you have a problem with Doug?
I don't have a
Adjusting
problem
agenda.
with it, but I don't know how the rest of the board's gonna feel about it because we haven't discussed
Then I'm
this
talking about
with
moving the
board.
agenda items.
Okay, you can move
Yeah.
them, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll run down to number 8, Development Review Committee, met on June 26th. The next meeting is coming up on July 24th. They discuss projects in the county, including Rivermont Fire Department, that's under construction. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much, and Mr. Seelot made the groundbreaking. So we're at a point where they're getting close to putting some footers in the ground, and our goal is to get the thing out of the ground before winter. Marriott Hotel, I think they still need VDOT approval, and they're awful close on getting stuff finalized and running through the punch list, so hopefully they'll be open before we meet again. Also, we've had some interest on the bank pad there at the corner of Riverton Commons out front. And I don't know if anybody's reached out to you, but they talked about coming in, possibly tearing down that and putting in 2 or 3 units. So with Valvoline completed and Taco Bell under construction, the renovation of that would pretty much build out the shopping center. So we'll see, maybe in a month or 2, we should have some additional information if they're going to move forward with it. Yeah. In town, they talked about proposed Harbor Freight and Gateway Plaza, and I'm not sure, are they still, I know there was talk about Food Lion, or maybe that one store moving to the Food Lion, and they were another store.
I originally heard that Big Lots was gonna move to the Food Line or Shop and Save, and Harbor Freight was going in Big Lots, just some Big Lots, but I haven't heard anything lately on that, so.
Maybe by next month's meeting, we'll find out. Also got an update on construction, new hospital, of course, that's progressing along. We're still, we've been released foundation plans and steel. We haven't, the full permit has yet to be, they've got a few questions for our staff to answer by. I would hope by next week that'll all be completed. But obviously that's moving along, and I think that may be, I don't know if they'll be ready to, they were originally talking about the end of 2020 and may slide to 2021, I would imagine. But again, committee meets on July 24th. Building inspection software, number 9. Again, this is the customer self-service. This is where the customer can go online and click in and fill out their permit application and stuff. Staff that was assigned to accomplish that, we lost our GIS administrator, went to work for Arlington, and so we've been a little bit down, but what we've decided to do is go ahead and contract with Tyler for their staff to do it. The latest we've heard is they're going to start testing in July. We're hoping that this gets done by September. Next time we meet, this will all be complete. But the software system's been up and running since November of 17. That's been running fine. This is simply the side that will let citizens go in and apply for my town zoning permit, my county building permit, fill all that paperwork out online, pay for it online with credit card, and do all that stuff. So this is the final piece, and it's just unfortunately, I think they wanted to make sure all the hiccups were taken care of before they roll it out.
In-town projects?
In-town projects, Rusty Jeffries, again, we had to replace the playground. The parking lot expansion took out most of the old playground. We built a new playground up on the high side of the school. Had a whole basketball court. The old basketball goals had to be removed. We'll be installing new basketball goals this summer and get that completed. They're fundraising for the playground. They've got, we did a master plan of the playground site. We've installed equipment as they purchased, kind of pay as you go. And as they fundraise, we'll continue to fill it out. But I would think in another year or so, they'll have everything installed. But get a new basketball court is high on our list. A splash pad project we're working on to replace the old side fountain down next to the youth center with a splash pad. We've gotten 3 grants, covered about 40% of the project. And I know we've been talking to y'all staff about how to tie into the sewer line and connection. We appreciate y'all's help on that. The latest thing, and we're trying to get an engineering letter for Jeremy. And I know it's kind of housekeeping, covering dotting the I's, crossing the T's. The fountain's raised, we're replacing that with a flat pad, but we still gotta give you a letter that certifies we're not increasing the flood zone. So we're in the process of acquiring that letter. Health and Human Services Complex initial project with the renovation for the registrar's office and the school special services is complete. We're now working with the contractor to complete replacement of windows in 3 sections of the buildings to match the new windows for the renovation, and that project will be completed in September. Lastly, down at Borough Brooks, we received, Lorraine Holquist is agreed to fund another music park addition down at Borough Brooks. And these are simply stuff the kids can bang on and make music with.
We've got just bang on it, don't they?
A lot of it, you see them out there banging on that stuff. But they have some pipes they can blow on, things they make, harpsichord and things like that. We've got one at Fantasyland that she funded. We're going to end up relocating some of the playground equipment in Borough Brooks Park, and we'll send a copy of it to Jeremy once we get the revised plan. But we're hoping this fall to install that equipment as well. But really, things are kind of slowing down right now. We are working with the schools on coming up with redesigning the plans for the renovation of the last wing of Health and Human Services for their school maintenance. The goal is for them to be able to relocate up to 15th Street, the Health and Human Services building, and be able to sell the Mills Auto Parts building on Commerce Avenue, put that back in the tax rolls. There's from time to time been interest from private parties. They would put that on the market it, sell it, and basically the board would take the money we anticipate to receive from the sale, allow the schools to finish up to the space, and then when they sell the building to basically reimburse us for the work.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? Would it be, I wanted to ask Doug, the Shenandoah Park property that's located at the intersection of 340 South and Kreiser Road, as you're going south, the property to the right.
Yes.
Across from 7-Eleven. Has the county pursued requesting that the park give that land to the county?
Well, one, under federal law, you'd actually have to swap property with them if they were interested. Had to be like for like swap.
Okay.
But they were not interested. A few years ago, we had to acquire some for the entrance to Skyline High School because there was a triangular property that we actually had to cross. So we swapped some land that's up by the public safety building for the intersection. They were not interested in any larger because that's across the street from the entrance. They don't want any development across from the entrance to Skyline Drive, the main entrance there. So at that time, we were lucky, I think, to get the strip that we got. But as far as, say, getting a strip and selling it for commercial development, put a sheets in the corner, it's not going to happen. Not across from the park entrance. But you'd also have to have an equal swap. Maybe you go buy 100 acres of Browntown, swap, say, give us 5 acres here for the 100 up there, because it would have to be a value swap. But I still don't think they'd be interested based on previous discussions. I think they bought that as a buffer to make sure that everything didn't develop across.
That was the reason, because I know I asked Joe about that.
Yeah. But we kind of vetted it with them because we were actually trying to just get a few acres when we were doing the high school. And it was we had to work pretty much like a half acre to half acre swap.
Yeah.
And
I digress from the agenda, but I thought, I'm curious about that. All right.
Yep, we
Okay.
have the dissolution of the economic development.
Yeah, thanks, thanks, Dan. So, I guess it was my first meeting. I made several comments, lengthier than I had hoped. And among the comments, there was a discussion about the possible dissolution in the EDA and what that would involve. From my perspective, I think we needed to have an open and honest discussion regarding how to best move our community forward as it related to this scandal we've endured. And, you know, I just took the position that I didn't think, as the interim mayor, you know, I'm the lamest of lame ducks, but I couldn't simply sit back and not have these discussions. And additionally, I believe the EDA and the community as a whole, they're looking for unambiguous direction from the county and the town as far as how to move forward in this climate that we're in, you know, with the civil litigation going on and the special grand jury and the federal investigation. Who knows what else is going on? From my perspective, I'd like to see hopefully future discussions revolving around, you know, perhaps one, how can the town and county join forces and work together for the betterment of our community, but also at the same time minimize or mitigate any legal fees. You know, I think it would be advantageous for our community as a whole, for the town and county to work together to clean this mess up, so to speak, and fix our own problem. And you know, should the county and the town consider a joint lawsuit against third parties? I think there's some third parties out there that perhaps have some legal culpability in the scandal that we find ourselves. If the town and county join forces, what conflicts of interest exist? I'm sure there's.
What legal ramifications are there by trying to do this?
Yeah.
If you have bonds, if you have loans, property,
Exactly.
you just can't. There's a lot. I think before we go too far into this, we need council and the board to sit together and discuss it. Not one person from the board, one person from you as mayor, and one person from the EDA. That's wrong. There's too many accusations about things being done behind closed doors, and to me, an effort for just 3 people to do it stinks, because it looks like a cover-up. I'll say that up front. We need to do this sensibly. I don't know whether you're aware, but it was the town that decided not to put funds into the EDA. And they also, at the same time, walked away from the library, and we picked up the cost. So saying the town and county have to work together, we have to have some meetings and work things out.
We have a direction we can go in, Dan.
Right now,
We have a direction we can go in. We can go into an adversarial direction,
I'm just explaining something.
and I'm just explaining something. We can go into an adversarial direction, or we can try to work together, which is my goal, and I think it should be our goal to work together. The situation is the situation. The mistakes in the past have been mistakes in the past. The town and the county had a funding formula where we funded the operations of the EDA. But I'm here to tell you, from the town's perspective, we're moving forward.
So are we.
We're moving forward. And I can tell you the civil suit that we're pursuing, I believe we're on some very solid legal grounds.
Good.
But you know, again, what I'm not after tonight any resolution or any clear direction. The purpose of this is to figure out what the next steps are. Should we continue to have these kind of discussions about the future of the EDA? And you know, like I said, here's from my perspective, the bottom line is the EDA is insolvent, okay? The county is funding the EDA. They're funding the legal battle, they're funding the investigation or accounting. It wasn't called forensic accounting. I don't know what ended up calling it, but you know, from our perspective, the Royal Phoenix property, which is one of the most valuable assets in the town limits, the Royal Phoenix property is fully leveraged, and we can't do anything on that property without Kirk Tran and the bank giving permission. So the situation is the situation, and as far as where the EDA stands and the future of it, I think the public has lost confidence in the current structure. Now, I'm not suggesting that complete dissolution maybe it's a dissolution of the current entity. Maybe we form another entity under a different structure. But, you know, I asked Joe when I first came in, I wanted to go back to source documents. Whether it's a federal issue, you go back to the Constitution. Whether it's a religious issue, you go back to the Bible. And what I did is I had Joe pull the original formation of the EDA. Okay. I don't know if you've seen this, but
I've seen it.
I'll read you two particular points. In the event of the IDA, okay, which at the time was called the IDA, dissolves as provided by the code section referenced, the town and county shall receive an equal division of all IDA property, 50-50. In the event that the county and town and IDA determines that the IDA has received or is in possession of property or profits in excess of that needed to carry on the IDA's function, then in accordance with the provisions of the code, said excess property and profits shall be distributed to the town and county in equal shares. So what does that mean? I've been advised what that means is that in the event the EDA ends up having any assets, we can get 50% of those assets if it's dissolved. And in the event it can be proven that the EDA has generated any profits, which I believe it has generated profits above its operations, I believe the town can argue we want our 50% cut of that. Now, where does that bring us? Okay, that brings us to a situation where the town, in my perspective, can sit back and we can let the county proceed along the path the county's going, and the county can sue, and the county can try to claim whatever assets the county's going to get, and they're going to spend all these legal fees. They're going to spend all these fees in accounting firms in excess, and when the assets come back, the town's going to be in a position to say, thank you very much for all your efforts, we'll take 50% of that. That's not the working relationship and partnership that I think is in the betterment of our community. So what I would like to see done, Dan, I would like to see you and I, we're both short time in this, right? You're in your last term.
That's right.
I'm even less than that. I get out November 6th.
Lucky you.
For you in particular, and I mean this sincerely, okay? I mean this sincerely. You've done a good job as Board of Supervisor. Your heart has always been in the right place for this community, without a doubt, okay? And the issues that have come up, and has come up under a lot of people's watch. And what I want to see, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see the town and county working together, not you going through your lawsuit, we going through our lawsuit, you trying to figure out how to get your assets, I try to figure out the town what to get at. Let's work together, okay? And you know, I think there's and by the way, this is Matt Tederick. I have not broached the subject with my council, okay? And I know you haven't broached the subject with your Board of Supervisors.
That's why I said we need to have both sit together
Completely agree.
and put everything out on it. I wasn't being adversarial with you. I was giving you the history.
No.
If I was adversarial, you'd know it.
Yeah, likewise.
You know
Likewise. So I think it's an opportunity for us. And what I would like to see done is, I think this EDA issue, I think from a liaison meeting, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, right? Much of the items that were on this EDA agenda are reports. You know, it's really just a report, and a report could be emailed, read, thank you very much. I would like to see on the next 5 or 6 months that this liaison committee roll their sleeves up and dig their heels in and really figure out how to yell at each other and figure out how to resolve problems and figure out how to move together as a community to make and Doug, you probably remember, 96 to 2000, that's how it was done. And there were a lot of gnashing of teeth in some of these liaison meetings, but we worked together really well. And I think in the past, the town and county has worked, has functioned together. I don't know if it's been really a cohesive partnership in moving tough issues forward. This is a tough issue. This EDA scandal is a tough issue, and I'd like to suggest, I'm willing to do it, and I'd like you to agree to do it as well, that we move these liaison meetings to every 10 days, focusing just on the EDA, and when necessary, we bring up more important,
Every
bring up
10
other
days.
issues.
I don't think so.
Every-
I think it's
every-
I think that is overbearing for some people.
Okay,
Okay, people have lives.
okay,
I think we could do this maybe on a monthly basis, but I can't see every 10 days.
Okay.
That's why I said we need to discuss what we're going to do. What I'd like you to do is put together a proposal from the town side of what your perspective of this is. And then maybe you could bring it and present it to our board in a work session. So our board hears from you. And then we could put together a proposal and come together as a team.
yeah, we can go through, look, we can go through these formalities, and we can spend 2 or 3 months trying to figure out when we're gonna have our first meeting.
We're not going to spend that much time.
But you and I both know that if you went to your board at your next meeting, and I went to our council at our next meeting, and I gave them look, I have no idea what this is gonna look like. I have no idea. Now, if you wanna have your entire board of supervisors to be meeting with our entire town council every month, I'm fine with
I don't
that.
have unless the two teams should so decide that they have a spokesperson and a second. I don't think one spokesperson, I think there should be a second, because God knows what can come up.
Yeah.
I found that out the hard way.
I'm open. I just know that, it's my opinion that ultimately at the end of this, if you look at the landscape, okay, January 1st change is coming, okay? You're gonna have a new board, we're gonna have new, perhaps some changes on the council. I think the EDA dissolution issue is gonna be first and foremost. If we can't work together, I think through the courts, I believe the town could force dissolution, and I don't think we want the courts to manage that process.
Don't threaten, please.
Yes.
I just took it that way.
Yeah.
What we're doing, first off, we have to find out what our legal responsibilities are to do
What
this.
ramifications there are.
We have
That's
to find out all that. Secondly, we gotta shut Facebook down to stop the lies and all the garbage that's going on.
Well, another way to put that is we need to rebut the non-facts.
And people gotta understand, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. None of us, you, I, Doug, none of us are privy to.
That's right.
Because the investigators are not telling us anything. I haven't gotten one eek out of any of the investigators, out of any of the agencies involved. They're not going to do that. They're not going to corrupt an investigation. People don't understand that. They think we're hiding stuff. Neither side, town or county, is hiding anything. And people got to understand that.
Okay.
That's why I said shut Facebook down,
Yeah.
because people read it on Facebook and they take that as face value. This is truth.
Yep.
There is more gobbledygook on Facebook than truth.
Yep.
And if people know, that would be great, then they should come forward and help the investigation. If they have factual evidence, not garbage being put on, that they can stand behind and present. And somebody brings me something like that, I will go on record that I'll personally call the state police or our Commonwealth attorney and say, we're gonna do something now. Here is the factual documentation. Not the rumors and innuendos and the garbage on the street and on Facebook. But truth. There's, truth and consequences is something we all understood from school or from church. And we need to have truth, not BS, out there.
Okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and schedule a joint meeting between two bodies? Let's just get it on the books. And I'll broach this concept there. Both bodies can hear it, debate it, think about it, beat it up, bad idea, good idea, and then let's just figure out where we go from
We
there.
work off a consensus, and I think everybody wants to do the same thing, resolution to this. We all do, we all have different ways of presenting ourselves. But I agree, but I will say one more time, I disagree with 2 or 3 people meeting closed doors, because the public needs to know, not have things hidden.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, absolutely.
Because I
I'm not opposed
noticed
to
there was tried for a meeting with a few people.
Yeah.
I got wind of it and I said, no way,
Yeah.
not from our side.
Something along, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, and whether this is, the full council and board, and maybe the EDA board is, the EDA, and it's been a while since they've updated a strategic plan, whether they stay in existence in their current format or not, but at some point, if they do, or at least as a body or an advisory board, that strategic plan that mirrors what the council and the board want to see, when, like, give you for instance, when they bought the Stokes Smart building, I think lots of folks were scratching their heads. I think every action needs to be, is the council supportive of this? Is the board supportive of this? And if you have a roadmap and a strategic plan, maybe the council and board don't want them out there buying properties on Main Street. Maybe, I think there was discussion then that that's what council wanted. But
They were left to operate in an environment which was just whatever environment they wanted to operate in.
But I think at some point that having everybody get down and make sure that everybody's on the same page with what they want to see moving forward, even if that changes. But that we want the EDA doing the things that the town council and the board of supervisors want to see, and including, do you want them to sell some of the properties they have, liquidate some of that? What types of things do you want them to recruit? All that is really included in that strategic plan ultimately.
Well, do you have a separate agency as an IDA versus an EDA?
No.
Because of bonding and stuff like that. That's where we gotta get
Yeah.
some guidance on,
And
so we know.
I 100% agree. I have zero idea, zero clue what the ramifications are in dissolution. What I do know is that the brand is shot. And I think it's shot from the public's perspective. I think it's shot from perhaps the state's perspective. And by rebranding, this is not foreign. Corporations do this all the time, right? But I don't know what ramifications. I don't know what ramifications are there. But I think it warrants discussion, and maybe out of the discussion, it may not be a full dissolution. It might be a more thorough restructuring and reorganization. Maybe that's where it ends up. I don't know.
You pull just the IDA instead of
and-
EDA, and you do something different with the board.
Again,
and
I can't do
members.
anything.
Neither can I.
I can't do anything without approval from the council. You can't do anything without approval from your board. I see a scenario where you guys are spending a lot of money in legal fees, and I think we're both going to be spending money on legal fees that we could be doing this jointly and accomplish the same mission. So that's, I think it warrants us working hand in glove in true partnership, as opposed to the county going down its path with blinders on, and the town going down its path with its blinders on, and in my opinion, the citizens suffer in that process. So,
If you were here before, when this all started, we asked if the town would be part of us on it. And we were told no, that they had their own things.
yeah, I think they had their reasons.
And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I
But
think they have
that's,
their reasons.
now we're trying to resurrect and bring us together. Where
Probably, as
back then, we would have probably been together and saved a lot of time and aggravation, and maybe money.
maybe, I wasn't there.
No.
I've heard there were reasons. Okay, so I think the action item is we're going to try to get on the books a joint meeting. Is you good with that, Gary?
Yes, sir. I'm open.
As soon I would move as soon as possible.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Next, is there anything else, Mr. Chairman?
No, we had citizens committee to evaluate.
Yeah. So this was another suggestion that I threw out at my first meeting. I think it would I think having a set of unbiased citizens to really evaluate from an outside looking in.
Do you think we could find? Honestly,
I
do
think-
you think?
I think
I
know-
question.
I got two people in mind right now that I think would be who have the right interest of the community at heart. You know, and again, I have no agenda as far as what that would look like. I would, if I had my druthers, I would suggest a 5-person panel as opposed to more than that. I think it gets too unruly. Whether the town picks 2 and the county picks 2 and the 4 of them find an individual, you know, the nuances and the details I think can be worked through, and maybe we can discuss this at our joint meeting. But I think having citizens, and Dan, you know this, and it's really sad, and there is such gross mistrust of town government and the county government and the EDA. Some of it I get and understand. There's a lot of anger and hurt out there, but a lot of it is just misperceived anger and energy that they, you know, they're automatically going to look at everything from a tainted. You know, our joint meeting is going to be looked at from a tainted perspective, right? So you know,
Cry for blood's not going to
right.
stop.
The mob's going to be the mob, right?
Cry for blood's
Okay.
not going to stop.
So if that's the case, let's get a group of citizens together and say, look, whatever the parameters we give them, here's your mission, and let them independently. You know, this is not uncommon. State government, local government, federal governments, they appoint citizen panels all the time to look at issues from an outside perspective. I think, I don't know, maybe not, maybe it's a waste of time.
You don't know till you try.
Don't know till you try. I think having these people look at it and say, here's where the bodies did well, here's where the bodies failed. In the future, here's what they could look at. You know, here's a good example of this. A good example of this is, I have heard, I don't know if it's accurate or not, the EDA had all these great audits over the years. All these wonderful audits, right? But yet, this alleged scandal and embezzlement was taking place. But yet, they were passing these wonderful audits. So maybe the panel could be looking at this and from their perspective suggest a different way of auditing, you know, organizations like the EDA. I don't know where it goes. I'm not going to be here long enough probably to see it through. Maybe you won't either.
Oh, I probably won't.
But I think having a group of citizens and get an ad hoc group to say, I'm prepared to do it. I am authorized by town code section. I am authorized as mayor to appoint an ad hoc committee. Again, I can appoint them and give them the task, and then they can FOIA information and they can look. But again, this is in partnership with the county, and you know, rather than you guys say, I don't want to present the ad hoc committee, and you guys say no. You don't need that.
I think, one, to remember, as of this month, we're now the fiscal agent. There is no EDA audit anymore. But it'll be a separate component. There'll be a county audit.
Yeah, that's good.
So that,
Yeah, that
that's off the books. I think, I just, the cautionary, you've got the special grand jury going on at the same time. You just gotta work around the parameters and
Sure.
what what you're doing.
Well, anyways, that's what that item was, and we can discuss it, put it on the agenda, and discuss it at our joint meeting. But I appreciate your indulgence in this. This is not.
Yeah, I just hate doing it without our board being
That's fine.
notified ahead of what we're going to discuss.
Perfectly.
I think it's only fair to our board to know when something like this is going to transpire. That's all.
So, how do you propose coming up with the agenda?
Now, first, we're going to get an agreement from all the board members.
That we're going to meet.
Or a majority. We're going to have a meeting and a date. We can do that electronically, so can you.
Okay. Maybe each pull items that a possible discussion, then maybe Joe and I can
Yeah.
sit down and say, okay, here's what we're going to.
Okay.
Try to get consensus on that.
Yeah, I mean, by tomorrow, we should have answers if people are available to email.
Okay.
We don't have notebooks.
Yep.
So we have to go home, or if the phones are working, look at our phones. But it should be within a day or two, it could be agreed upon. That's a done deal.
Very good.
Anybody have anything else?
Do you have anything, Gary, or anything on this, or? Okay.
Joe's did a lot of talking too, so
Yeah.
I think he's talked out. Doug, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, then we're adjourned. Thank you.
Guys.